Welcome back, everyone, and let's get this out of the way first. I will not be pronouncing Genos the incorrect way again. I don't know why I got it in my head of pronouncing it the way I did, but besides that, we will be starting part 1 of the Monster Association arc. If you guys are excited, please like the video and subscribe to stick around. Now, let's get into it. We come back where we left off last chapter with Royal Ripper and Bug God confronting Garou. They tell him that he is not a real monster since he has not detached himself from humanity, since he saved a kid and didn't even kill any of the heroes in his hero hunt. Senior Centipede tries to sneak attack the kid, but Garou saves him again, causing their battle to start. We cut to Zombie Man finding the House of Evolution's new hideout just being a takoyaki stand. We learn that Zombie Man was a successful experiment by them to create an immortal being, but also that Genos has given up on his ambitions ever since he met Saitama. Genos then explains that every being has a limiter that they were born with from God, putting a cap on how strong they can become. Those who push past them most often lose themselves and become monsters, and those who keep their humanity often become heroes. He said that Saitama had not just pushed past his limiter, he removed it altogether, but the price for it was that he went bald and that he felt extremely alienated because of his power. He then goes in extreme depth with how monsters come to be, but I will go more into it in the discussion part of the video. But we end off with Garou being beat up on the ground. Garou wakes up after he was nearly beaten to death, only seeing Senior Centipede's corpse. Not seeing Tario around, he starts to think he may have been kidnapped, but then he says it's not his business. Then we see that the other monsters did not finish off Garou because they were called back to the Monster Association. They did end up capturing Tario to play with him later, and said that Garou was stronger than they expected. Psychos then explains why she called them back. It was because one of Child Emperor's drones found their base, so now they are expecting the heroes to come soon. So now they must prepare for war between them and the heroes. Child Emperor then confirms that there are 16 monsters gathered together and tells Sitch to gather the heroes. They end up getting a decent chunk of the S-Class to quickly form a team, being Tatsumaki, Zombie Man, Puri Puri Prisoner, Pig God, Flashy Flash, Dark Shine, and Child Emperor himself. The monsters start to prepare as well, but see Royal Ripper went off on his own to cut up Tario. But before he is able to, Garou comes crashing in, killing Royal Ripper and saving Tario. They start to leave, but then run into Overgrown Rover. They begin their fight, and the heroes are ready to invade now that Atomic Samurai and his disciples and Sweet Mask have arrived as well. All this noise is now also attracting Saitama, who suits up to go investigate. We go back to Garou, who now finds himself fighting Psychos, who uses her psychic powers to bind him. But she can't bind him and throw rocks at him at the same time, so she throws him off and proceeds to increase the gravity around him, squishing him and knocking him out. We go over to Flashy Flash, who is up against Gale and Hellfire, which he promptly disposes of. Child Emperor fights Phoenix Man, who he easily kills. Sweet Mask defeats his monster with no effort. Zombie Man fights Pure Blood, who is a natural monster, but after a while he was able to cut him down and died about 200 times. And Pig God is just having a snack. Darkshine is having his fight with Bug God, but was just disappointed because he thought he would be stronger. After letting Bug God hit him a few times, he just one-shots him. Atomic Samurai's disciples, Iain, Okama Itachi, and Bushidrill split off from him and run into another demon-level monster, Devil Longhair. Tatsumaki finally meets Psychos and is a bit impressed at her strength, but seems to easily defeat her. Fubuki feels Tatsumaki fighting, and King notifies them that there was a summon for all the S-Class, so they are on their way as well. The disciples manage to beat Devil Longhair, and Puri Puri Prisoner looks like he got beat up by Garou. with Tario being chased by another monster who is a dragon level black sperm, who gets interrupted by Atomic. They begin their fight, Atomic thinking he is going to be easy, but soon realizes that black sperm seems to keep multiplying no matter how many times he cuts him, and he begins to get overwhelmed by the sheer amount of clones there are. Saitama finally got to the base and starts to fight Overgrown Rover, while Zombie Man runs into another monster, Homeless Emperor, who is a dragon level and is able to shoot out balls of energy. Zombie Man asks him about his powers, and he tells him that he was fired from his job and became a homeless hermit that lived in nature, and soon realized how toxic humanity was and what they were doing to the Earth. So he decided to reunite with the Earth by killing himself. But that is when a being that he called God came to him and gave him these powers to wipe out humanity from the face of the Earth. Sweetmass runs into another monster, but he says he can't win against him because he basically becomes paralyzed whenever he sees extreme ugliness. That monster is Fure Ugly, who is an Ugmon type monster. Pig God then runs into another dragon level monster called Gums, who eats him, but is forced to spit him out, with both of them squaring off to fight. Darkshine finds Puri beat up, and he tells him Garou did this to him, and that even he may have trouble fighting him, which gets Darkshine excited to fight him.
You're gonna regret it.
Child Emperor runs into Atomic's disciples beat up on the ground and sees the monster who did this to them, which seems to be some kind of water monster called Evil Natural Water, who is a dragon level as well. We go see what Saitama is doing, which is just walking around the base, but then gets attacked by Flash. He dodges, and Flash can't believe he did, so attacks him again, and Saitama catches his sword. Then he goes to punch him, and Flash quickly tells him that he is a hero to try to de-escalate the situation. Then we finally see that Genos and the others are on their way to the base, ending us off on scenes of how the fights are going for all the heroes and monsters. I would say we should discuss the most interesting part of these chapters, which is the explanation of monsters by Genos. He explains that monsters most often are born from people obsessing over something, for example being the great food tub who just wanted to eat everything. Another way is they transform out of frustration because they can't fulfill their desires, which I am guessing would apply to Fure Ugly, since he became a monster because of all the rejections from women. Then there are the monsters that Genos made, purposefully mutating the cells in other beings to make them transform. Then there are monsters that are born just from things like pollution or other environmental factors, which Evil Natural Water may be the cause of. He then explains that the sea folk and aliens could be considered monsters, since they opposed humanity, but they are different since they were that way from the beginning, similar to pureblood. But heroes, on the other hand, did not take this shortcut, because they either were born with their talent or trained to get as strong as they are. But Saitama is an anomaly, pushing himself so far that he just became limitless. Which I am happy we got a lot of world building in this one chapter, explaining a lot of building blocks of the verse. Now, let's move on to the other characters. Garou has still been getting his ass beat. He nearly died to the 3 monsters that jumped him, and then by Psychos later on. He did go back to the Monster Association to save Tario, who he unfortunately lost track of fighting Rover. And now, from the latest point we see him, looks like he is starting to transform into a true monster, so I am excited to see what's going to happen with him. The Monster Association had a bit of a mix showing this chapter, with most of the demon level monsters getting utterly smoked. But then we have the dragon level ones who seem to be dominating the S-class pretty hard right now. The only one not having a problem right now is Tatsumaki, who is dominating her fight. Genos' team is coming to back up the heroes, so we'll see how that goes. and Saitama is just walking about trying to find someone he can complain to about all the noise around here, now seemingly pairing off with Flashy Flash. It was definitely an exciting chapter with a lot of the fights, but it seems it's going to be even more exciting in the next few chapters with the S-Class fighting even stronger opponents. If you haven't, go check out my playlist of all my reviews so far, or check out my other content. Besides that, make sure to subscribe if you want to keep up to date with my content, and like the video if you enjoyed. So I will see you guys later. Bye guys.